Okay, so it's that time of year again, and it is time for me to plant out or sow my broad beans directly here over the allotment. I already have some broad beans in modules at home in the greenhouse. They haven't come up yet, and they are going to go as an experiment in the greenhouse in pots. So I want those much earlier than these ones, and then these will then take over. I always sow Aquadulce Claudia because I find that is my favourite broad bean, and this bed here had them in a couple of years ago actually. A couple of weeks ago we put down some beautiful compost. This is our own homemade compost, and it has done the job beautifully. So I'm just going along, I put the hoe over the top, and I'm just going along and taking out any kind of big sticks. There's a few little annual weeds that are coming up as well, and they're all coming out, and they're going in the truck, and they're going back onto the compost. So then I will sow my beans in here and let them overwinter, and hopefully all will be good. I'll have to put a cover on so that they don't get dug up by something, and then when they start growing, the pigeons don't get them as well, because I have to cover everything on this allotment. The pigeons are very hungry on this allotment. So let's sow what I've got. I might have to get a few more actually broad beans, because I noticed that after sowing them at home, I haven't got a great deal left, so I might have to get a few more, which is fine, they come very quickly. Or I could actually just go down the garden centre and get them. The only thing is the garden centre sometimes have Aquadulce, but they don't have the Claudia ones. And the beauty of the Claudia ones is really big and really long. So let's get on with this. There's not a lot of daylight hour left, and broadies, love broadies. I have decided to harvest my squash. I'm a little bit disappointed actually, because I thought I would get a few more, but as Mr. N has informed me, we did put these in very, very late, and we're actually lucky to get any at all. So I'm happy. I've got a few varieties here that are quite interesting, and I'm really rethinking my growing next year, because I have a tendency to always go for really kind of unusual varieties of things. And then because they're heirlooms, you don't get a great deal of harvest off them. And more I'm thinking to myself, I actually want a lot more quantity of good quality produce. So I'm rethinking things. And that it also includes the squash. And I will get them in earlier next year, she says, with her fingers crossed. Okay, so let's go through them. This one here is actually a favourite of ours, and I'm going to try and grow this every year. It's actually meant to colour up a little bit more, this one. It's a little light at the moment, and everything is all a little bit damp because it's very wet and soggy and boggy outside. And that's why I thought I would harvest these, because they could very easily start rotting. When you look at the stems are a little bit wet as well. So that's why I've put them in the greenhouse here on the allotment, and I want them to dry out really well, and then I will start taking them home as well. And I'll show you where I store them, because I've had to rethink that as well. This variety here is the biggest one that we've got, and this is called Iran. And I got the seeds from Baker Creek Seeds in America, and I kept my seeds from last year. It is a fantastic pumpkin or squash, whatever you want to call it. The flesh is really dense. It's a little bit like the Australian one, the Queensland blue. I tried to grow that this year, but that has to get in really, really early in this country. But this is nearly as good, I would think. This orange one here And this one here, they're both exactly the same, but this is obviously not ripened at all. We'll have to use these quite quickly. Why did I grow this? I grew this last year, and to tell you the truth, it wasn't that great. I didn't think the flesh was that great. This again is another one that I got from Baker Creek Seeds, and it's called Crespo. I think I grew it because I knew it would come to something. Last year I had a real massive one, and okay, it's my fault. We didn't use it in time and it rotted. So idiot me. But anyhow, so I've grown it this year, and it's not as big, but it'll do. This one here I grow every year, but I'm thinking that I might replace it with Crown Prince. This is called Blue Hungarian, and last year I had a really big one of these, and it again, really lovely flesh, stores quite well. Again, it's got to be cured very nicely. That's a very nice one, Blue Hungarian, if you're interested. This is a new one to me. This is called Volskaya Grey. And again, I think it was meant to be a little bit bigger, but it doesn't look too bad. It'll be interesting to see what that one is like in comparison to this Blue Hungarian. I've got these three here. So I always grow these little ones here, and these are the honey boats, and they're really great and really prolific. You can also grow these up something, right up an arch or whatever you want to grow it up, and they're really good. Lovely, lovely squash. I have the tromboncinos. Now, I've never grown those before. I've got one here that is fully cured, but it's small. And the other one I picked because I don't want it to go off. So I've not grown those. That'll be interesting. And then I've got two here that are a little bit of a mystery, actually. This one, I have no idea what this is. It could be a delica, but it's a very strange colour for a delica. I put in two delica plants. I put those in really late. Again, that's another favourite squash of ours. It could be, I'm not sure. And I think this one here could be it's either an Anna Schwartz or a Burgess Buttercup, but it's grown in a funny kind of long way. Anyhow, it'll be interesting to see what they taste like as well. So again, I'm going to leave these in here now to dry out, not touching, and on the paving slabs as well. So they'll dry out, they should dry out quite nicely, and then I will bring them home and have to store them before we start eating them, because last year I wasn't very good at my storing, but I think I stored them in the wrong place. I think it was too humid for them. Yeah, okay, fine. We got some squash this year. It's all right. Next year I have to rethink things again and maybe plant a little bit earlier. So here we are, the squash season 2023.